This podcast contains graphic descriptions that some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Now, with that being said, welcome to the Mortal Musings podcast.
Right, let's do this.
We have a shout out to give this episode.
Oh, yeah. So, this one I've nicknamed Tanya Tan.
Tan.
No, Tanya Tan.
Or Tan. Yeah.
Yeah.
We went through a whole list of...
We was like, right, her name's Tanya. Do we
let's
say...
workshop
do
this.
we say Tanya?
Mm-hmm.
Do we say Tan? Yeah. And then it was like, no, Tanya Tan.
Tanya Tan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kumasabi.
What?
It's Japanese.
Is it, though?
I think so. So, yeah, she's joined the Mortal Army.
It's not Mortal Army. Stop trying to make it happen.
All right. You know, because this podcast is half British, Mortal Mob.
Why is that British?
Mob?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Mobbing around. It's British.
Mob. If I heard the word mob, I think of, like, mafia. And then I think of Italian, and I also think of Irish.
Of course you'd think of Irish.
Well, we actually had a little bit of an issue with the merch order that was put through. So basically what happened is, you know, we'll get the money through for the order and then we'll pay the supplier and then the order gets sent out.
Yeah.
Seems pretty simple, doesn't it, lads?
Yeah.
Well, it's fucking not when you don't have the right account linked. So the money came through and then Neil had an almighty fucking fit over it. He was freaking out because he was like, where's this money come from? What is this for? What the hell's going on? Who's paying me this money?
Yes.
Not realising it was the order coming through for the money and he just accidentally linked the wrong account. So it didn't go immediately out to pay for the merch.
No, but it was because I didn't get a notification, but there'd been an order on the website.
Yeah, because you hadn't paid for jack shit.
I just got a notification, but there was money sent to us. And I was like, who is sending us money?
Yeah. Neil's level of panic was extremely high for someone who has just received money.
Right. As a Yorkshireman, we are known for being pretty tight with our money. And the last thing we want to do is owe someone money as well.
I don't understand that, but...
So I was like,
you
someone
didn't.
sent us money by mistake. I've got to pay this fucker back.
Yeah. That's a real, like, indebted mentality to have. Like, that's some sus shit right there. No, but yeah, we got sorted, but it was a little bit of a panic on Neil's part. I was kind of like, oh my God, what is this from? But Neil was like, oh, what do we do? What happens? What's happening now? Do I call the police? Like, he was full on panicking.
Yeah.
Well, that's sorted anyway. Yeah, so the merch has been sent out. We hope you get it soon and enjoy it. And, lads, the weather's getting colder. So
Is it?
It's very fucking humid today, I'll be honest with you. It's quite hot trying to record in here, but the weather will drop. And actually, we're recording this a week or so in advance of it releasing.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's going to be a little bit colder by then. Right, Neil?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you would like a zip-up hoodie, the same as Tanya Tan, you can purchase it from mortalmusingspodcast.com. Just have a browse while you're there.
Have a browse. Is anything else you fancy, lads?
There's-
Christmas will be here before you know it.
If you want a mug what says you're acting the bollocks, we got you covered.
Got you.
So, part 2.
I fucked up the curtain. We don't need you getting distracted with butterflies fucking on the window again. No. Is that better?
So this is a first since we launched. Every time we've done a 2-parter, it's been on the same day. Recording.
Yep.
There's a week difference here, isn't there?
Yeah, it's the first time you've ever had to wait for the part 2.
Yeah.
I think we even remarked about that in the last 2-parter. That you were like, yeah, I don't have to wait, you guys do. Well, fucked you over now, haven't I?
So I don't know how this is going to turn out. It could turn out different.
What, you mean like the consistency?
Yes.
But yeah.
But I've only just got you to listen to part 1.
Continuity, that's the word.
What?
Continuity. That was the word I meant to use. Can I just say as well, listening back to part 1, I noticed that, like, I was talking bollocks. Some of the words I was, like, I seem to be just tripping up. Like, at one point, I mean to say tuition, and I say commission. That really annoyed me. Yeah. And, like, as I'm saying it, I don't even correct myself. I just use the wrong word. And listen to it back, like, that is so fucking annoying. I can't change that. But it is what it is.
Like, I notice it. I don't take it out because I want you to look.
You want me to be ashamed of myself?
Yes. So, So we're still on Timothy. Timmy.
Timothy Treadwell, yes. The bear enthusiast. You've had his number from the get-go.
Yeah, I think I'm up to mistake number 1.
Oh, yeah, you had a counter going, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. Well, in the last episode, where did we get to? We talked about his background and his life leading up to...
He was a homeless Australian who was...
An orphan, yeah, from Australia.
Yeah, orphan.
Mm-hmm.
He was an actor.
Yeah.
He'd changed his name.
He wanted to be in the theatre. Yeah.
Yeah. He's white.
Yeah.
There's something else.
Well, you were getting very impatient in the last episode because I was going into his backstory a bit and the different parts of his life leading up to it. And you're like, where's the bears?
Yes.
Where are they? Like every time I went slightly, to a new avenue in his life, you were like, oh, bears. It's like, no, hang on.
It's not a new avenue in his life like he moved state or something.
He did move state.
It was, yeah, but that's not where I got upset. It was one thing. He's a failed athlete. Then he goes to acting. Then he's a fucking Australian orphan. Mm-hmm. And I was like, when does the bear come into this?
Oh, you're just confused as to how it fits in.
Yes. It's like a softer version of Richard Speck.
Yeah, I mean, that fucker was just all over the place. He was here, he was fucking there. Like, I actually, I think, apologised during that. 'Cause, like, I'm sorry if this is hard to follow. He's here, he's fucking there, he's everywhere. So, yeah, his backstory, growing up and all that. And then we mentioned how he would spend 13 summers of his life in Alaska living among these bears.
Actually 13 summers, she doesn't mean 13 years.
No, I never meant that. So Timothy's last trip to Alaska will be in 2003.
I was 14.
I like how you have to manage the timeline by your own time, your own age.
Didn't everyone do that?
With some stuff. I think people do, yeah.
So what are you giving out about then?
Because you have to actually verbalise it. It's not a quick thought in your head.
Right.
I was 13 summers old at that stage. You could have said that. You missed an opportunity there.
Bastard.
Now, although Timothy liked to portray the image of him being the sole one who was out there living in the wild, he was actually accompanied by his girlfriend, Amy Huguenard. And Amy had actually travelled out there with Timothy a few times before as well. Like we mentioned in the previous episode, Timothy had shot over 100 hours of footage. And through all of those hours, Amy is only seen twice. So he's really trying to keep her hidden, like I said, have this whole image of he's this sole person, this sole protector of these bears, this what have you.
Yeah, it's the same as, it's not the same, but Bear Grylls. He makes out he's this survivalist in that. He's always got a camera crew with him. What the fuck is he on about?
Well, he stood there drinking a bottle of his own piss when he's probably going off after they shoot that and drinking a bottle of Fanta.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he calls himself I'm a survivalist.
What's going on with Bear Grylls? I haven't seen him in years.
Dead.
No, he's not dead. He had a death grip on all of us for a while. We were like, oh, what's Bear Grylls doing now? Do you remember?
Who shit's he eating?
Yeah. Do you remember when he got stung by them bees or whatever it was? Was it bees? His face was like...
No, that was Stephen, and it was jellyfish.
Who's Stephen?
Stephen Irwin.
Steve Irwin. And no, he actually died from that. I'm talking about Bear Grylls. There's a picture of him and his face is swollen to fuck. But thank you for bringing the tone down. In October of 2003, their friend and pilot Willie Fulton arrived to pick up Timothy and Amy. So he arrives there, he gets out of his plane and ties it up. Timothy and Amy hadn't arrived yet, so he shouts out their names, but there's no answer. But Willie can see some motion up on the hill. So he just thought, it's windy up there, maybe they can't hear me.
Mm.
So he starts to make his way up, and he gets about 3/4 of the way up there. And then he said he just knew something was wrong. He could feel it.
Sure.
As he turns and begins to head back down, he sees a bear coming out of the brush. And as he describes it, a pretty nasty looking bear that he hadn't seen before, just sort of sneaking low with its head down. The meanest looking thing.
I don't think I've ever seen a bear, creep.
I don't know.
Not sneaky. They're
Well,
not cats.
this was he noted it. Because obviously he's somewhat familiar with the area, and he was like, I don't recognize that bear, and he looks fucking sus. He's up to some shady
A bear
shit.
be sneaky. They're about 4 ton.
I suppose if they're hunting or something, wouldn't they sneak a bit before actually pouncing on their prey?
I thought they were more loud. They're fucking raw. Get up on the hind legs.
I genuinely thought you were going to do an impersonation of a bear there.
No. It's still a black. I'm not doing a fucking bear.
Yeah, 1 impersonation per show, lads. Come on now. So as a lot of us would do, he says, fuck this, gets back to his plane, unties it, hops in and sets off.
Wouldn't you just get in the plane?
What do you mean?
Were you safe in the plane?
Well, I think in case he needed to get away. Because this, I say untie it, it's the planes that land on the water. He gets back there and he gets up into the air and he circles around. And as he flies over Timothy's campsite, he sees a human rib cage and a bear feeding from it. He circles round again, but lower down in an effort to run the bears away. And each time he's flying over, the bears are just picking up their pace, just eating faster and faster.
He's flying his plane at a bear.
He's, just kind of swooping down just to try and get them to scatter, to get away.
Oh no, if they're hungry, they're not going anywhere.
Well, I mean, this that image kind of stuck in my brain, the idea of trying to scare them off, and they're this kind of frenzy, panic eating.
Well, just look at Norman when you give him his wet food.
Mm. Oh, that's intense. I've never seen any, the speed of him.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Puts me to shame.
He later said that it was in that moment that he realised just how close he came to his death. He gets this surge of adrenaline and he said that he was struggling to breathe and felt numb. But luckily he was able to pull it together and he calls back and tells them that they need assistance. So a party is sent out to search, and as they're walking up the hill, they encounter a bear. And they're not fucking about now because they already know that someone has been killed and, Willie's already been a bit fucking shook about this bear that he saw himself. So they immediately open fire, killing the bear.
Bastards.
As Willie looked over, he said that it was the same bear that he had seen earlier.
I'm sorry, but you know how I feel about that. You're going out into the wild and shooting the bear for doing something a bear would do in the wild.
Mm.
I don't agree with it at all. If you're the one going in the wild poking around and you get eaten by a bear, it's part of nature.
Well, to be honest with you, that was Timothy's stance. We're going to obviously talk about it a little bit more. I mean, because it's kind of, you see his point, but it's also still,
No.
But you don't know. You don't know about it yet. No, Timothy, no. Willie also thought that this was the same bear that had killed Timothy. And he was right. They cut open the 28-year-old bear, known as Bear 141, to find clothing and human remains in the bear's stomach. Further up the hill, they find what was left of Timothy. His head with part of his spinal cord still attached. There was large lacerations to his head, and his scalp had been torn away. His hand was also found, with part of his arm, and his wristwatch still attached.
Yeah, just because I know what bears do. What are you laughing at?
I know what bears do.
No, I do.
Okay, yeah.
I know what bears do. Once they get you on the ground, they pin you down by your spine, probably breaking ribs or spine as they do it, while they chew on your head.
Yeah.
You're alive while they're doing it.
You're alive right up to the end.
I saw something where there was a bear attack. The bear did the exact same thing, got him on the ground. I think he broke a couple of his ribs going down. Mm-hmm. And then the bear started chewing on his head. This guy fucking survived. But the bear picked him up by his head and flung him up in the air. By his head. Mm. Can you imagine being the mate watching that happen?
No. You see something and you're like, oh, that's it. Done. There's not a chance. Now, his watch that was still attached to his arm was still ticking. Still working away. And that watch would later be given to his friend Jewel. Willie said...
Why? That's a horrible souvenir.
I think for her it was kind of... Because, she was part of the Grizzly People organisation. For her it was something that he wore all along. It was part of him kind of thing.
It was part of incident as well.
I think that's a judgment call on how you look at it, whether it's the last thing of that or it's the thing that survived the attack. It was the last part of him. I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Willie said that the worst part of this is that Timothy never would have wanted this. If he was to have been killed, then so be it. He knew the risk, and he would never have wanted a bear to die as a result. He would rather have died, and that be it. So, you know, like you kind of brought that up earlier about, like, you know, you don't encroach on their territory, and what do you expect? Right or wrong of whether Timothy should have been there or not, he was fully aware of that, and if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
I still don't think he should have been there, but, you know, whatever. But what about Amy? Amy was seemingly innocent in all of this. According to an ex-boyfriend, he said that Amy was naive and she was easy to convince of something. But that was sort of part of her charm. She was just a very sweet person.
But mistake number 2, naive.
Yeah, but this is Amy, not... I thought we were counting Timothy's mistakes.
Oh.
Coming for Amy now.
Well, they were both there.
Well, she was out there. But you have to wonder, did she know exactly the sus with the situation? Or was she given sort of a false indication of what it would actually be like? Did she know...
It's going to be the best safari I've ever been on.
Well, you know, because he was camping and all where he shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Was he kind of saying, yeah, it's fine, I do it all the time, whereas in reality, he was putting her in extreme danger?
It's all right. I can tame them. I boop them on the nose and tell them no.
Literally, boop them on the nose. Something else that's interesting is that, according to Timothy's diary, Amy was frightened of bears.
I feel like getting up and walking away.
That's what I mean. It kind of makes you think, what was said to her to convince her to go if she had a fear of them to begin with?
Yeah.
Was it kind of like, no, but once you experience them in person, you'll, you know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Like, I'm scared of flying and heights. It doesn't matter how naive I am, you are not getting me to skydive.
Right. I don't like kangaroos. They scare the bejesus out of me, right? I'm sure as fuck not going out camping with kangaroos. I don't even know if you can do that. But it's a no from me. But how many people do you hear saying to someone, you gotta face your fears. You gotta just do it. You're gonna love it. You get over it.
Yeah.
I sounded a bit like Donald Trump there, didn't I? It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. You gotta do it. No, like, you do hear a lot of people kind of try to persuade someone out of their fears. I don't give a fuck what you say to me. Yeah. If you place a tarantula in my hand, I am still going to be scared of spiders. I just am. I've had a spider on me. I still don't like it. It freaks me out. You don't like flying. You've flown many a time. You're still scared of it.
But that's because I don't fly frequent enough. I think if I've flown more frequent...
Maybe. But part of that is the height thing, no?
No, because when I'm scared, it's the taking off and landing.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Well, it's not so much the taking off because I love engines. But it's once the wheels lift off of the ground and...
it's kind of like, well, I'm fucked now.
When you start doing that first turn...
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, I'm going to shit myself. It's a good job I've got to change of clothes.
And you can't even go to the toilet straight away. You got to just ride it out.
But I've got to change of clothes. It's fine.
Yeah. So, like we said, Amy's scared of bears. Something else you have to factor into that with her fear. As time went on and the seasons changed, the bears were on the hunt for food, which would make them more aggressive. And at the time of their death, a lot of the bears that Timothy would have been familiar with were in hibernation, but there were still some roaming around. Amy wrote in her diary, "Seeing them claw, bite and growl at each other made all my fears come flooding back."
Flooding back? So she had forgot about her fears?
Well, she was obviously scared before going there, and like I said, she had been with him a few times, so maybe she'd had good trips previously. Yeah, so if her previous trips had been good experiences, but now, like I said, a lot of the bears they were familiar with had kind of fucked off, and it's kind of some stragglers, for lack of a better wording, that are hanging around now that she's not familiar with.
Loiterers, yeah.
Loitering bear bastards, yeah. Something else interesting of note is that apparently Amy was planning on leaving Timothy. What?
There?
No, not leave, not like, fuck you, I'm off. Like, I think the relationship was coming to an end for her.
Okay. So she thought, I know what I'll do as a final test. Go out into the sticks and hang out with some grizzly bears.
Well, it may be one of those things, because obviously there's going to be a lot of preparation with going out into Alaska and staying out there for a prolonged period of time. Maybe she'd already committed to this and said, right, well, look, I said I'd go with you. I'll do it and help you. But she was kind of...
Do you know what it sounds like to me?
Mm-hmm.
He got wind of it, but she was getting rid of him.
So
he was like, I'm going to snuff her out. I don't have to do anything. The bears will do it for me. But the bears were that hungry, at boffing him.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Well, which bear are you accusing here? Are you accusing, who's it, Aunt Melissa, or is it Sergeant Brown?
What, one called Demon?
Yeah, Demon.
That
There's
bastard.
Mr. Chocolate. What if it had been Spirit the Fox? Ghost the Fox. He was the troublemaker robbing the hats. Remember that? Yeah. In her diary, Amy called Timothy hell-bent on destruction. She also said Tim would honestly die if it meant these animals could live.
Well, he did.
He did, yeah, but not the most reassuring feeling when you're there with him, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
On the 5th of October, the day that Amy died, she wrote, "There's a feeling in the air that makes me feel a little worried for some reason. Even Timothy has seemed a little off in a sense."
Do you know if you were to go out in the wilderness, would you write a diary?
Maybe, yeah.
They all seem to.
Yeah. Maybe, because it's kind of, you see so much different shit living among these animals that you probably would want to take note of some things.
Well, now it'd be voice notes on your phone, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably would, yeah. But you wouldn't be on your phone all the time, would you? Because even with how many power banks you're bringing and stuff.
Well,
actually, I don't know.
They're useless sack of shite, they are.
Well, I mean, probably with that, if you're there for months and months, you probably have some sort of a generator. I don't know what you'd...
Just carry it on your back.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what's like a portable version and how much energy you have to conserve.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a wilderness...
All I know is every...
survivalist.
Every power bank I've had, I don't think I've ever seen a 10%
Half
increase.
Half hour, then the whole thing is drained.
Yeah.
And like you said, your phone's up 8%.
Yeah. Oh, and it takes 3 hours to get that 8%.
Yeah. So on that night of the 5th of October, that they were attacked by Bear 141, their camera was on. Now, there's no video footage as the lens cap was still on, but their last words were recorded.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Tim can be heard screaming, "I'm being killed out here." Amy shouts back, directing him to play dead. Amy is also heard shouting, "Get away, go away."
Shoo. Go on from here. None of them work now. Against a fucking grizzly bear. Like, seriously, against a grizzly bear. Shoo, shoo.
She didn't say shoo, that was you. And obviously realising that it's too late, Timothy can be heard telling her to go, run. The final moments of the tape hear the screams of Amy before she was killed. The only sound that is heard after that is of rainfall.
I just want to apologise for making levity of this situation, but aren't you supposed to do the complete opposite of what she did? Aren't you supposed to make yourself as big as possible and like bang pans together and stuff?
I don't is that actually true, or is that something that people just say?
It's supposed to be make as much noise as you can and make yourself as big as you can.
Yeah, no, I've heard that too, but is that factual? Is that like a thing that's actually like advice given to people?
Well, I do know for a fact the worst thing you're supposed to do is run.
People say run downhill because their bears legs get punched up when they can't run, but that sounds like absolute fucking bollocks. Like, so this tape is horrific. It's insane that this exists.
And is that on the documentary?
They don't play it.
Okay.
So the tape was given to Jewel. She has never listened to it, understandably. But she did allow the maker of the Grizzly Man documentary to listen to it.
I'm going to say someone has, because someone's transcribed it.
Yeah. After he listens to it, he is visibly upset, as you can imagine, and he asks her to turn it off. He then says to her that he thinks she should destroy the tape and never listen to it.
Oh, because you'd hear all the, like...
You're hearing...
grinding at teeth on the bone and...
Well, to hear someone screaming out in pain, to warn someone to get away, go, to hear Amy's final screams and then silence but the rainfall
yeah.
is fucking intense.
Yeah.
So, similar to that of Chris McCandless, people certainly had some opinions of Timothy.
Like myself.
Like yourself, yes. Tom Smith, a research ecologist with the Alaskan Science Center of the U.S. Geological Survey, said, Treadwell was breaking every park rule there was. In terms of distance to the bears, harassing wildlife, and interfering with natural processes. Right off the bat, his personal mission was at odds with the Park Service. He had been warned repeatedly. It's a tragic thing, but it's not unpredictable. So, from his comments on Timothy, not unlike your own opinion, we did mention previously, he definitely had a sense of self-importance. And Jewel had previously spoke about how he had his own sense of justice. He didn't seem to care about the reality, just his own reality. The park had rules in place for a reason. He had been given citations for keeping food in his tent and illegal camping practices. In fact, a new rule was even introduced because of Timothy, known as the Treadwell Rule.
Wait, illegal camping... what?
Illegal camping practices.
Is that like shitting...
Well, how he was camping. So, like I said, they introduced a new rule because of him. And that rule is that campers must move their camp every 5 days with a distance of at least 1 mile to prevent bears from becoming too comfortable around humans.
Yeah.
Sounds fair enough to me.
Same what they say about foxes and squirrels. Like, they say don't feed them because they're getting braver and attacking babies and stuff. That's not funny.
No, it's...
It happened in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
The baby was in a pram in the back garden
of
someone's house.
Yeah.
A fox jumped in,
Yeah.
clawed away at it, and then fucked off.
Killed baby.
No.
Just injured the baby.
Severely. And then with squirrels, stop feeding them nuts because they'll like bite your finger. Serious? Look it up.
Which one? Because there's the red and the grey squirrels. Which one's the bastard?
The red ones are supposed to be bastards
the
anyway.
red ones are the bastards. Because one of them's killing off the other one. The red ones are the bastards.
As far as I know. Well, they're red, aren't they?
You mean like gingers, like?
What?
You mean because they're ginger? Is that what you're getting at here?
No.
Well, what's red?
Like red, evil.
I'm evil.
Angry.
Okay.
Everything's red when it's negative.
Okay, so foxes and squirrels aside, bears are slightly more of a threat. And
just a bit.
And we definitely have to have the rules in place. Yeah?
But you know what you could do? Don't go out there.
No, me personally, no, I'm not about it with the camping and all that. Never mind a fucking bear hanging around me.
If I have to shit in a bucket, I'm not going.
Yeah. It's words to live by.
That's going to be a quote.
Yes.
People are going to have that as a motivational quote.
Above their bed?
No, in their office.
Oh. So yeah, anyway, Timothy wasn't very good at following rules. Obviously, with a rule like the Treadwell rule being introduced.
Like, I bet he thought that were clever, but a rule was named after him.
Well,
I would.
He's dead. So.
Oh.
He doesn't know about it.
Oh, okay.
But with a rule like that being introduced, obviously Timothy wasn't following the guidelines that they had previously set out.
Yeah.
Timothy would camp in an area known as the Grizzly Maze, which was a trail that was known to have a shit ton of bears.
That's not the noise of me shitting in a bucket. I'm clapping. So it's like, well done. You've gone to the best spot, have you?
Grizzly Maze? Now, the park that he was camping in, the Katmai Park, was established in 1918. And in the history of the park, these are the only deaths caused by bear attacks.
Oh.
So it's not a common thing.
Yeah.
This was an isolated incident from not following rules. One of the men who was tasked with the cleanup had said that he basically thought Timothy was an idiot and that he had got what he deserved.
Well, like...
Oh, this guy was brutal.
Not in so many, like...
He wasn't holding back.
Not in fewer words.
He did say that the real tragedy was bringing Amy out there with him. He had sympathy for her, but not Timothy.
Well, you're your own woman.
He also said that he thinks the only reason Timothy survived as long as he did was because the bears thought that he was lacking mental capacity.
An idiot, basically.
He didn't use that word. He used a bold word. But
Did it begin with R?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said that he thinks the bear just had enough of his fuckery, basically. And they're like, right, shafter, Timothy. Which, I mean, fuck me, he had a good run. He had 13 summers of living with bears before there was any type of an incident.
Yeah.
Some believe that Timothy wanted to be a bear.
What?
Yeah. I think they're getting that from the whole looking into a mirror thing. I don't believe he wanted to be a bear. I think he liked...
admired him.
Yes, he liked the simplicity and maybe didn't quite... Like we said previously as well, that the kind of... It is simple in one way, but extremely fucking brutal and chaotic in another.
Mm.
And I don't think he quite connected that. Quote, I would never ever kill a bear in defense of my own life. I would not go into a bear's home and kill a bear. That is what Timothy had said previously.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, he would never harm a bear. And if he was to get mauled, killed, whatever by a bear, so be it. You know, and I understand that he was meaning to sound respectful to animals, but...
Yeah. The only bit I don't get is whoever went with him is there screaming, play dead, play dead.
Mm-hmm.
But the bears were starving. It didn't matter if you were dead or not. The bear was eating you.
Mm-hmm.
So playing dead wouldn't do anything. It's not going to stop.
I don't know what I would... What shit I would come out with in that situation. I don't know what the hell I would say. What would you say, Neil?
Get yourself fucked off.
Yeah, you probably would, actually. Yeah, you're already sorted.
Stop acting the bollocks.
So, yeah, Timothy thought he was being respectful and very caring of these animals. But when you put that against native Alaskan people who know how to coexist with bears peacefully, and you don't need to literally live with bears. Sven Hackinson spoke from his perspective as a native Alaskan, part of the Alutiiq people. He said, they avoid us and we avoid them. If I look at it from my culture, Timothy Treadwell crossed a boundary that we have lived with for 7,000 years.
So they're all going after Tim.
Yeah, because I mean, their standpoint's fair. We don't want to harm these animals, but we also know not to get too close.
Yeah.
Let them live their lives, we'll live ours. I mean, how I look at it is I really think it's the case of trading one addiction for another.
Yeah.
You know, Timothy kind of said previously about being out there. It was kind of something that kind of pulled him out of his previous troubles.
Yeah.
And he just became obsessive with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's definitely an obsession.
I think, unfortunately, he lost sight of the true dangers of not respecting the boundaries of wild animals. He had talked about how there is no place more dangerous and exciting to be, stating, I'm edgy enough, I'm tough enough, this is my land. It's actually not your land.
No.
Okay? This was during a video where he kind of was going on a rant about the Park Service again. You know, when I was saying, he's like, oh, you fucking fucks and all this. And it was kind of like, it's almost a little bit unhinged feeling in the video. Again, not maybe emotionally equipped to deal with the reality of this. I mean, he would literally walk up to a bear and fucking boop on the nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of this like fucking rage and kind of passion about something. And then the other hand, it's boop.
Yeah.
Cutesy bear. No.
Yeah, like, I don't know if it was part of his addiction previously, but I don't think he were playing with a full deck when he thought about the dangers of bears.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the drink addiction, but, like, blurred his judgment.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually going to, obviously I've already watched the documentary to get some information for this case. Neil is actually going to sit down and watch it, and we might have a bit of further discussion on our Patreon series, Knock 'em Back, if you're interested to hear that from Neil's perspective.
That's basically us talking about it, pissed up.
Yeah. See, now you kind of know the case, but I think it's going to be interesting for you to actually hear Timothy speak. You know, like I was saying about how he's like, I love you, and it's all cutesy to the bears. It's kind of odd behaviour.
Yeah.
You know? But that's the story of Timothy Treadwell and the death of Amy Huguenard.
Oh, shit. I feel more sorry for her than I do him.
I feel bad for both of them. There's a little bit that kind of makes me a little bit angry at Timothy, but I feel as though...
But he was a rule breaker.
I mean, that does bother me. That really pisses me off, but I feel like maybe someone should have intervened and...
Yeah.
You know, how many people were encouraging him to go off and live with these bears? You know, the whole Grizzly People organisation?
Mm.
Were they encouraging this, or was he going rogue from what they believe? I don't know.
I think he was going rogue.
It does seem that way.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah, definitely watching the documentary tonight. So, Oddity.
Oddity. So, back in April of this year, a 34-year-old woman was found living in a sign.
So,
it's exactly what I said. I said what I said. She was living in a sign.
A sign's flat?
Well, not all signs, Neil.
They absolutely are. It's just a sheet of metal on a lamppost.
No, not necessarily. This was a big sign. So she was found living inside a sign for a family fare supermarket in Michigan. So it's on top of the roof. So it's a big kind of structure.
Okay.
So the sign is located on the roof of the supermarket, and it's more of kind of, like I said, a structure. It's like an attic type space on this building. When officers arrived and knocked on the door, she emerged dressed in all black with a pair of ski goggles on her head. Apparently she was wearing them because she was sensitive to sunlight. But
okay.
Like a fucking bomb-ass outfit, if you ask me.
Oh, so they must have been tinted.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I'm guessing so. So they knock on the door. She comes out in her fucking deadly outfit. And she turns to them and says, "How did you get up on this roof?"
She's questioning them.
Yeah, yeah. And they replied, quote, "Ladder, we're not roof ninjas."
And is this where she said, "Have you got a warrant?"
Well, this is the thing, right? They actually don't know how she was making her way up there. And she didn't tell them either. There was no ladder left there, or they don't know how she was actually getting up there every day.
Through the store?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think they had access through the store.
But don't a lot of the buildings in America have the fire escape things?
Well, I'm guessing not from the roof here,
yeah.
because they're like, "How'd you do it?" And like I said, she didn't tell them. So when police entered...
she should have said, "I don't need a ladder. I'm a roof ninja."
Maybe she did. And they were like, "Right, cut that. We're not having this smart ass answer us back. Use my words against me." When police entered this space, they found that she had laid down flooring, she had bedding, a desk with a computer and a printer, her phone, and a coffee machine.
A coffee machine?
Yeah, she'd made a right little nook for herself. Like, it was fucking lethal. Unfortunately, that's what actually gave her away. A contractor found an extension lead running across the roof that she'd been using for electricity. They also noted that her living situation was quite impressive, especially as she had been living up there for about a year.
Okay, no. Right, that is impressive, but because of what you've been like with the previous auditors, I honestly thought you were going to say 10 years.
Oh, so you're not impressed with a year?
No, I should be. But
okay.
You fucked me up with these auditors.
You don't think it's impressive, but there is no easy access point to the roof.
Yeah, it is a thinker.
Yeah.
She must have gone through the store. Had to.
She described her accommodation as an old safe spot. The police asked her how in the fuck did she manage to survive up there through the winter? It's Michigan, it gets fucking cold.
Mm.
To which she replied, "I know how to deal with that. I've been in Alaska." Why did everything come back around to Alaska? Bless her though. She was homeless and she had found this fucking deadly accommodation. Like she said, it was an old safe spot. So she was able to keep herself safe and warm and out of the way. The employees at the store were said to have treated her with compassion and professionalism. She agreed to leave and no charges were pursued.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. But like, if you're the store manager and you find out, but she's had lumps kicked out of her on the street now, because she's actually living on the street, hang your head in shame.
I mean, I would like to hope that they got her a place in a shelter or something.
Yeah.
Because how fucking evil would it be to take her out of there and then just place her back on the streets?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, coffee machine, computer, printer, living it up.
Fuck.
Yeah.
the most well-off homeless person. Do you know what a lot of people are doing now? Living in skips. They're hiring a skip, and instead of paying for rent, they're just paying the weekly or the monthly charge for a skip and living in it. You know, the big ones with the doors?
Yeah.
And just living in it.
Well, a guy I used to work with, he actually got a storage container, and him and his girlfriend turned it into an apartment kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot of people doing that.
You got to get creative. Times are tough.
Potty. Put one of them in.
Well, I'm not shitting in a bucket. We've already got over this.
Thank you so much for listening. Find us on Patreon, TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. If you have a case suggestion, or maybe even your own story, email us at mortalmusingspodcast@gmail.com.